Good morning. My name is Eva Tansky-Bloom, and as chair of the University of Pittsburgh Board of Trustees, I'd like to welcome you to our annual meeting of the board. This meeting has been duly advertised as a public meeting in accordance with the Sunshine Act and is therefore open to members of the public as observers. Due to the restrictions in place in response to the COVID-19 pandemic, the majority of the university's facilities remain closed. Therefore, this meeting is being streamed on the university's YouTube channel and is also being recorded. The recording will be made available via the Board Trustees website later this week. I have been informed that a quorum is present for the transaction of business. Participation in the meeting is limited to members of the board and to those the board has invited in advance. I first would like to acknowledge the presence of Noe Ortega, who is attending as a representative of Pedro Rivera, who is the Pennsylvania Secretary of Education. Noe has been with us on many meetings, and we always welcome your presence. Since the winter board meeting, we have lost 3 former colleagues of the board, Steve Beering, Paul O'Neill, and Bill Robinson. Steve Beering, President Emeritus of Purdue University, passed away early in April following a lengthy illness. Steve earned both his undergraduate and medical degrees from the University of Pittsburgh and was awarded an honorary doctorate at our 1998 commencement exercises. Following service as a term trustee from 2000 to 2008, he was elected to serve as an emeritus trustee. Steve was a giant in the world of higher education, having served as president of Purdue University for 18 years. Those of us who knew Steve will remember him as a true gentleman whose dedication to Purdue was equal to his devotion to Pitt. Former trustee Paul O'Neill also passed away in April following a battle with cancer. Although his tenure on the board only lasted 3 years, from 1988 until 1991, Paul left his mark on our university and on our region. He came to Pittsburgh to serve as chairman and chief executive officer of Alcoa from 1987 until 2000, and it was here that he made his home. Under his leadership, Alcoa tripled its revenues and gained recognition for making workplace safety a priority. Paul delivered the keynote address at our 2003 commencement and did so without using any notes and while deflecting a beach ball away from the stage. Bill Robinson served as a Commonwealth trustee on the board from 1990 until 1998. During his time on the board, Bill served on the Compensation Committee, the Health Sciences Committee, the Investment Committee, and the Student Affairs Committee. He also served on the Board of Visitors for the Center for International Studies. For many years, Bill could also be counted on to serve as the enthusiastic host and MC for the Pitt Jazz Seminar and Concert. Bill was elected to serve on the Pittsburgh City Council, the Pennsylvania House of Representatives, and the Allegheny County Council. He was a staunch supporter and advocate of civil rights and equality for the citizens of this region, particularly the Hill District, which he called home. Please join me in a moment of silence for Steve Beering, Paul O'Neill, and Bill Robinson. Thank you. The minutes from the board's winter meeting were distributed in advance to the board in advance of today's meeting and can be found in the meeting materials. Could I please have a motion to adopt the minutes in a second?
I'll move. So move.
Second.
Thank you. Are there any corrections or additions to the minutes? If none, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Thank you. The minutes of the winter meeting of the board as circulated are hereby adopted. Today is the last board meeting that Dr. Art Levine will attend. I would now like to call on Chancellor Patrick Gallagher to say a few words. I'm sorry, but we're not hearing the Chancellor.
I think he's muted.
Oh, you missed all the good parts then. So I was just saying, I think Art really needs no introduction. He's wrapping up 22 years of Board of Trustees meetings today, and I think that's a record that few, if any, could match. One thing I do know for certain is that nobody at Pitt has any doubt about what Art has meant to this institution. It's really no coincidence at all that his tenure parallels Pitt's steady and steep climb into the ranks of elite American institutions of education and research. And we saw evidence of just how appreciated he is by our community last week when we put out a friendly call for a socially distanced parade in his honor. And I think 75 cars of Art's friends and colleagues drove past his house to wish him and Linda well as he transitions into his new role as executive director of Pitt's Brain Institute. So with that, we'd on the occasion of his final board meeting, we thought it would be fitting to honor him with a short video tribute.
It was short.
Dr. Arthur Levine's scientific and inspirational impact on the University of Pittsburgh Schools of Health Sciences and UPMC is immeasurable. In 1967, Dr. Levine joined the Cancer Institute of the National Institutes of Health, remaining there for 3 decades before coming to the University of Pittsburgh in 1998, where he was named Senior Vice Chancellor for the Health Sciences and Dean of the School of Medicine. Since that time, Dr. Levine has been instrumental in fostering Pitt's remarkable rise in research rankings and its many advances in medical education. Under Levine's leadership, Pitt's health sciences programs have become some of the most highly regarded in the nation. The School of Medicine is now consistently ranked as a top medical school by U.S. News and World Report and is considered among the best in the world. Pitt's School of Nursing is perennially ranked in the top 10, and the School of Health and Rehabilitation Sciences is home to the top-ranked physical therapy program in the country. Since Dr. Levine's arrival, Pitt has moved into the top 10 list of recipients of NIH funding and has remained within this enviable echelon ever since. The School of Medicine and the university as a whole have more than doubled in NIH support since 1998. In fact, Pitt has experienced the fastest and largest increase in federal support for biomedical research of any institution in recent history. In 2018 alone, the university received more than $577 million in funding, nearly 80% of which went to the School of Medicine. By leveraging the creation of UPMC and the federal government's commitment to doubling NIH research funding, Dr. Levine was able to recruit top-notch research faculty and physicians to Pittsburgh and helped fuel UPMC's evolution into a world-class research hub and health sciences enterprise, and the region's largest employer. Several institutes and research centers have been born under Dr. Levine's leadership, including the Brain Institute, Center for Vaccine Research, the Drug Discovery Institute, and Institute for Precision Medicine. 10 academic departments have been added to the School of Medicine, including the first Department of Critical Care Medicine in the nation. As a professor of medicine and molecular genetics, Dr. Levine has led by example, continuing to direct his own laboratory focused on molecular mechanisms that maintain the fidelity of the genome, yielding findings that have led to seminal publications. Dr. Levine has authored or co-authored over 250 research papers, chaired national and international scientific meetings, earned memberships to top research societies, and served as a lecturer and visiting professor at universities throughout the world. And he has been honored by such prestigious organizations as the Association of American Physicians, the U.S. Public Health Service, the Surgeon General, and the NIH. In 2013, he was named the John and Gertrude Peterson Dean of the School of Medicine, marking the establishment of the first endowed deanship in the School of Medicine's history. In January 2019, Dr. Levine announced his plans to step down from his roles as Senior Vice Chancellor and Medical School Dean, but he still remains part of the Pitt family as Executive Director of the Brain Institute to pursue Alzheimer's disease research. Upon news of this transition, Pitt Chancellor Dr. Patrick Gallagher wrote, "It's difficult to overstate the remarkable impact that art has had on the University of Pittsburgh, our School of Medicine, our health sciences programs, and UPMC. And we at the University of Pittsburgh are grateful for his incredible leadership." We salute Dr. Arthur Levine for the work and prestige he has brought to the University of Pittsburgh and are grateful for his countless and extraordinary contributions.
Thank you. Madam Chair, at this time, I would like to introduce a resolution of appreciation for Dr. Art Levine.
Thank you, Pat. And I'd like to have the resolution read into the record and would ask several members of the board to assist in doing so. Jack Smith, would you please begin the reading of the resolution, followed by the other trustees? Jack, you are on mute.
I'm sorry. I would be delighted. Whereas Arthur S. Levine, MD, crafted an extraordinary career spanning 3 decades at the National Institutes of Health, known as the NIH, including serving as Scientific Director of the National Institute of Child Health and Human Development, and was recognized for his impact on NIH and national policy and the Meritorious Service, Distinguished Service, and Surgeon General's Exemplary Service Medals of the U.S. Public Health Service and the NIH Director's Award. And
whereas, following a national search, Dr. Levine was elected to serve as Senior Vice Chancellor for the Health Sciences and John and Gertrude Peterson Dean of the University of Pittsburgh School of Medicine on June 25th, 1998. And since that time, his visionary leadership has transformed the academic and research programs of the University School of Health Sciences. And
whereas, as Senior Vice Chancellor for the Health Sciences, Dr. Levine has taken steps that have led to a dramatic transformation of the academic and research programs in the schools of the health sciences, including appointing all 6 deans of the health sciences and 28 of the 31 department chairs in the School of Medicine, where he also established several new academic and clinical departments. And whereas Dr. Levine has been a champion of interdisciplinary collaboration that has led to the establishment of a number of comprehensive centers and institutes, including the Translational Science Institute.
Whereas, since joining the university, Arthur S. Levine has cemented the university's reputation as a research powerhouse, as funding from NIH has more than tripled from $170 million to $528 million annually. And the university has climbed in the rankings of research funding received by academic and research institutions, and now consistently ranks among the top 5 in the nation in NIH support. And
Whereas Dr. Levine has made lasting contributions to the educational programs of all of the schools of health sciences, which have seen a similar ascent in terms of national recognition, and many of which are now ranked among the best in the country. At the School of Medicine, he has instituted curriculum changes that focus on the human side of medicine through the Longitudinal Alliance Project and work to recruit, retain, and encourage students to pursue careers in research and education through the Longitudinal Research Project. And
whereas Dr. Levine has maximized the university's relationship with UPMC to advance the cause of human health, to make the city of Pittsburgh an internationally recognized center of medicine, and to build a global reputation for both institutions through partnerships and collaborations with institutions around the world. And
whereas Arthur Levine's lasting impact on the university and the academic and research programs of its schools of the health sciences is vividly expressed through the construction and renovation projects that have been initiated since 1998, most notably the state-of-the-art Biomedical Science Tower 3 and the planned renovation of Scaife Hall, the home of the School of Medicine.
Thank you. And now I would like to ask for a motion to accept this resolution. And a second. And motion.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The resolution is adopted. And Art, let me add my own thanks to all that you have done for the university and for the cause of human health. I have told you often that you have a unique ability to take a very complicated subject and make it understandable for us who are not in the medical profession. And we appreciate that a lot. As the university began dealing with the challenges of the COVID-19 pandemic, you provided sound guidance, and your calming presence was reassuring to all. Thank you again from the entire board, and I look forward to continuing to work with you as you move into the next phase of your career here at Pitt. I open the floor up for any comments.
Yeah, Madam Chair, this is Pat Gallagher. I just wanted to note that Dr. Levine has joined us today, and I'd like, if with your indulgence, to invite him to say a few remarks.
Of course.
Thank you, Eva, and thank you, Pat. I'm very grateful to the Chancellor Emeritus, and the board for the opportunity to lead for almost 22 years and to contribute to the medical school, the 5 other health science schools, and in some measure, the university as a whole and to our community. As I reflect on the achievements that have brought me the greatest satisfaction, I would first focus on the emphasis that I've placed on the basic science of medicine and healthcare, and especially our genes, the proteins that they encode, and how these proteins function in each of our cells at specific points in time. I have great pride in the faculty members whom I have recruited or helped to recruit in all of our schools, departments, and institutes who have furthered this theme, mindful of the fact that in this important era of translating from the bench to the bedside, it is still the case that one cannot translate what has not been discovered or invented. I also have great satisfaction with our students, and not only the dramatic increase in their abilities, but the fact that an increasing number are embarking on careers as scientists, as well as clinicians and leaders, despite the financial and other challenges, and having a career like the one that I myself have had. Our country has had a severe decline in the number of people with such careers in the past 2 or 3 decades. And in the face of our current pandemic, it is critical that this university populates the pool of leaders who contribute to and relish the science, the facts, and the evidence that underlie the public's health. Perhaps our greatest challenge is gaining insight in fine detail into the structure and function of our brain, which after all influences everything about us, our behavior, our motor activity, our learning, memory, and knowledge, our feelings, our values and beliefs, and the function of every one of our organs. With this in mind, the next stage of my career will be as a fledgling neuroscientist. Wish me luck as I take this risk in moving from what I know best, the biology of cancer, to what I know least, the biology of our brain. Finally, let us all wish the best of luck to Anantha Shekar, my successor, as he copes not only with the challenges that I've had for almost 22 years, but now with the greater challenges of the economy, the pandemic, and the long overdue remedies for our society's incivilities to one another. Thank you again.
Thank you, Art. Do we have any comments? Thank you. Again, thank you so much, Art. So Art and I are celebrating our last day in our current position at the same time. So 5 years ago, when I was elected chair of the board, I said that Pitt is a great university. Today, on the last day of my chairmanship, and after working so closely with the chancellor, administration, and meeting firsthand with our students and faculty, I can confidently state Pitt is truly an outstanding university. It has been an honor for me to serve in this position. Thank you, my fellow trustees, for trusting me with this responsibility and for your support, counsel, and your friendship. I was fortunate to have the opportunity to lead the search committee for the new chancellor and to participate in interviews for our new provost, chief financial officer, chief investment officer, and our brand new dean of the medical school and senior vice chancellor for health services. We as a board participated in the transition of our new chancellor and our new chief legal officer and of all these other new officers. It is important to recognize that these new officers, our new leaders, brought great expertise, new ideas, new enthusiasm, which is vital to our future. What a transformation we've seen over this short period of time. We have a wonderful board. Over the last 5 years, we significantly strengthened the governance practices and broadened the skill set and the diversity of the members. We created a new committee to oversee and support research and innovation, which is critical to the future success of the university. We have opened up more opportunities for leadership of our committees, and most significantly, our committee members are engaged and work diligently performing our oversight responsibilities. We now work hand in hand with the university on all aspects of the strategic plan. We have cemented the relationship that we have with the university leadership into a true partnership. We advise the chancellor and the administration on emerging issues and fully utilize the experience and expertise of our trustees. Some examples include giving birth to a new school, the School of Computing and Information. We advised, collaborated with the administration, and supported the transformation of the Titusville campus to a unique organization with opportunities for education, job training, and support of the community. And we have focused with the administration on continuing to work on making it accessible and affordable for all of our students, and to make sure that they are welcomed into a diverse and hospitable environment. This board is passionate about fulfilling our oversight responsibilities. Our trustees have enthusiastically contributed their time, treasure, and talent in so many ways. And we ventured out of Oakland for the first time with board meetings at our Greensburg campus and most recently at our Johnstown campus. This is significant because we learned firsthand about the operation of our branch campuses, what they mean to the students and faculty, and their importance to the economic vitality of the communities in which they are located. Pitt is an economic driver in Western Pennsylvania. The outstanding research conducted here brings millions of dollars and jobs to Pittsburgh and to the region. We attract new talent to our city. Pitt's success and growth are essential here. When there is a spotlight on Pitt's accomplishments, and we were again named the #1, the top public university in the Northeast, the city and the region shine with us. When I attend the new student orientation every August, I am in awe. I look at the 4,000 fresh young faces who are about to embark on their college career, and I understand the responsibility that we have to these students. Both the students and their families have entrusted Pitt to educate them, to keep them safe, and to provide an exciting, meaningful life experience. And then when I see them 4 years later at graduation, excited, confident, more mature, I know that we have prepared them to contribute to our world and to have successful careers in this global economy. This comes about because of the leaders of Pitt. I've worked closely with our chancellor, and I can assure you that we are in very good hands. Pat is wise, strategic, visionary, and caring. We would not have been able to accomplish the progress we have made as a board without his enthusiastic support. The executive team that he has assembled is also excellent, and they all care so deeply about our students and about the future growth and vitality of our university. Their expertise and devotion have been especially evident during this pandemic. Beginning in March, when we no longer could have our students safely on campus, within just a few weeks, our classes were up and running online so that our students could continue their education. The administration has been working diligently to develop the plan to bring our students back on campus in August safely. And even though it will look different, we are all anticipating their return to Oakland and to our branches. I want to give a special thanks to Kathy Humphrey, the secretary of the board, and her team, Kim, Amy, Matt, and to Graham Park and her team who handle our events. They work so hard behind the scenes so that our meetings, dinners, events go smoothly. We have many challenges facing our university: the ongoing pandemic, racial justice, a difficult global economy. But I am confident that we will face them head on and use them as opportunities to advance Pitt on the global stage. I have said many times that I owe a great deal to Pitt. The opportunity to attend our law school on a full scholarship changed my life. And I am so proud to be an alumna of the University of Pittsburgh. I want to thank my family, my brother Bert, the head of our family, my mentor and a fellow board member, my daughter Hannah, and my son-in-law Will, and my husband Norman, who has been such an important advisor and best friend. Thank you for giving me the time and support to serve in this role. Thank you again to my fellow trustees for this honor and for your support and counsel. I cherish your friendship. My very best wishes to Tom as you take on this new role. I know that you'll be a terrific leader, and hail to Pitt. Thank you. We will now move into our committee reports. And the first report will be from the Academic and Affairs and Libraries Committee. Doug Browning.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The Academic Affairs and Libraries Committee is charged with the general oversight of matters pertaining to the faculty, including quality, standards of performance, and welfare. Currently, appointment stream professorial ranks and terminology are found in Chapter 2, Article 6 of the bylaws of the University of Pittsburgh, which governs full and part-time non-tenure stream faculty, including defining titles and ranks for those faculty members as set forth in Section 6.2. The provost, in consultation with the Faculty Affairs Committee and senior leadership within the Academy, presented to the Academic Affairs and Libraries Committee proposed changes to these bylaws, which would first change the wording non-tenure stream to appointment stream faculty. The change to appointment stream is a way of referring to faculty by what they are rather than what they are not. Secondly, an additional prefix, teaching, would be added to the list of titles. Teaching is defined to refer to one whose primary assignment or contribution is instruction and who is not ordinarily expected to undertake research responsibilities. And finally, it would add 2 additional ranks: teaching professor, associate professor, assistant professor, or instructor, and secondly, professor, associate professor, assistant professor, or instructor of the practice. The additional prefix and ranks will better reflect faculty roles. The Academic Affairs and Libraries Committee is in support of this bylaw change. The committee will send these recommendations to the Governance and Nominating Committee for further action. Madam Chairman, on behalf of the Academic Affairs and Libraries Committee, let me thank you for shepherding the work of the board and the stellar leadership you have demonstrated as its chair. And on a personal note, thank you for the guidance, patience, and friendship you have shown me during my tenure on the board. It has been a pleasure and an honor to serve with you. Madam Chairman, that concludes my report.
Thank you very much, Doug. Are there any comments, questions? And we'll move on to the report of the Investment Committee. Ed Greffenstedt.
Thank you, Madam Chair. On a personal note, I'd also like to quickly add to the chorus of thank yous to Art and Eva for your truly extraordinary service to the university. In this report, I'll cover 3 items today: an update on the recent activities of the Investment Committee, number 2, certain information on the consolidated investment pool of the university's consolidated endowment fund, and third, an overview of the approach that Greg Schuler, the university's CIO, and his team are using to manage the consolidated endowment fund through the current turmoil resulting from the COVID-19 pandemic. First, recent actions. On Tuesday, June 16th, the Investment Committee held a public meeting to approve 2 spending distribution rates for the Consolidated Endowment Fund. Specifically, with respect to the university's operating fund's quasi-endowment, the income percentage remains unchanged for fiscal year 2021 and will be 4.75% of the 3-year trailing average market value. The income from this fund supports student financial aid. Number 2, the distribution rate for the other funds in the Consolidated Endowment Fund remains unchanged for fiscal year 2021 and will be 4.25% of the 3-year trailing average market value. In addition, there is a 0.45% charge annually to fund administrative costs. Second topic of the report is the endowment performance. The materials for the June 16 information meeting of the Investment Committee included investment performance for periods ending March 31st, 2020. As a reminder, the primary long-term investment objective for the Consolidated Endowment Fund is to generate a nominal return sufficient to cover the approved income distribution percentage to support the university, plus inflation measured by the Higher Education Pricing Index, plus administrative fees and expenses, which collectively total approximately 6.9% for the last 10 years. Incorporating 1/4 lagged returns for the portfolio's illiquid investments, as of March 31st, 2020, the Consolidated Endowment Fund had a 1-year return of negative 1.63% and a 10-year return of 6.99%. It is important to note that approximately 40% of the portfolio is invested in illiquid assets, and the Q2 valuations of these investments will not be available until the early fall. Finally, the third item to report is on how the team has been navigating through this current recession and the unknowns around the pandemic. Greg Schuler and his team are working very hard to navigate the Consolidated Endowment Fund through the current recession by remaining focused on the long term while also addressing two near-term risks. The first, market volatility risk, and the second being liquidity risk. On the market volatility risk, the team has been managing the Consolidated Endowment Fund very carefully in an environment of high uncertainty and historic levels of government and Federal Reserve intervention, where there is sometimes a remarkable incongruity between the macroeconomic conditions and the recent financial market behavior. The Consolidated Endowment Fund has been rebalanced 3 times during the recent market volatility, which is very important for maintaining proper long-term equity exposure for the endowed funds. At the same time, the team has shifted certain fixed income exposure from corporate credit and mortgages to U.S. Treasuries. On the liquidity risk, the team has also focused on managing the liquidity of the Consolidated Endowment Fund to ensure there is sufficient liquidity to fund the annual university spending, while also satisfying capital calls for illiquid strategy commitments and maintaining sufficient capital to pursue new and attractive investment opportunities as they arise. To stress test the portfolio's liquidity and develop contingency planning, the team developed various scenarios through the fiscal year ending June 30, 2021, some of which included extreme assumptions, all of which provided confidence that the Consolidated Endowment Fund will have sufficient liquidity to manage through continued volatility should it persist or worsen. Madam Chairperson, this concludes my report.
Thank you. Ed, are there any questions or comments for Ed? Thank you. Then we will move to the report of the Property and Facilities Committee. Jack Barber.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. On June 25th, 2020, the Property and Facilities Committee held a public meeting at which 2 proposals were reviewed and approved. First, the sale of the UPMC Presbyterian D Wing to UPMC. The university currently owns the D Wing property of the UPMC Presbyterian Hospital and has leased the space to UPMC since 1990. UPMC desires to purchase the D Wing as well as a nearby L-shaped parcel of land. The D Wing consists of a 22,000 square foot parcel of land, including an 85,000 square foot, 13-story wing of UPMC Presbyterian Hospital. The L-shaped parcel is a narrow 14,000 square foot parcel located along Victoria Street and adjacent to the university's Lothrop Residence Hall. The committee approved the sale of these properties at a combined sale price of $18.74 million. This price was validated by an independent appraisal firm and was deemed fair and reasonable by the university. Second item was agreements for supplemental student housing for the academic year 2021. In response to the COVID-19 pandemic and in accordance with associated guidelines from the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania and the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the University of Pittsburgh intends to implement certain de-densification protocols in its facilities for the 2021 academic year. Such de-densification protocols will reduce available capacity in existing university-owned student housing facilities. To provide supplemental student housing capacity, the university desires to occupy rooms in multiple hotel properties in or near the Pittsburgh campus. The committee authorized the administration to finalize and execute agreements for supplemental student housing for academic year 2021 at an estimated cost of approximately $22 million. Madam Chair, I too, on behalf of myself and my Property and Facilities Committee, would like to thank you for your intelligent, your thoughtful, and your graceful leadership of this board over the last 4 years. Thank you.
Thank you, Jack. Are there any comments or questions for Jack? Then we will move on to the Governance and Nominating Committee, and that's Lou Costello.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would also like to state that it's been an honor working with you, both at PNC over the years and then here at the University of Pittsburgh.
Thank you.
Board of Trustees, you're a fantastic leader, a fantastic person, and a good friend, and I truly, truly appreciate all you have done.
Thank you.
So the Governance and Nominating Committee is charged with the responsibility of recommending to the board candidates for election as trustees of the University of Pittsburgh and for other offices. The committee held executive sessions in February, April, and June, but no actions were taken. At a duly advertised public meeting on June 5th, the committee endorsed the recommendations contained in the resolutions that are before the board today. In the meeting materials, you will find recommended nominees for Emeritus Trustees of the University of Pittsburgh Board of Trustees, the University of Pittsburgh Board of Trustees, University Directors of the UPMC Board of Directors, and the Chairperson of the Board of Trustees. Starting with the nominees for the Emeritus Trustees of the University of Pittsburgh Board of Trustees, the Governance and Nominating Committee recommends the election of former trustees Robert P. Randall and Sam S. Zacharias. Complete biographies for both Bob and Sam are attached to the resolution found in your materials. Madam Chair, on behalf of the Governance and Nominating Committee, I move that Bob Randall and Sam Zacharias be elected as Emeritus Trustees of the University.
Thank you, Lou. Is there a second, please?
Second.
Thank you. Any comments, any questions? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Then the resolution is passed, and Bob and Sam will be invited to the fall meeting of the board so we can congratulate them in person. I will be abstaining from the next two items of business, so I am turning over the meeting to Lou Costello to chair for the next two items. Lou?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Starting with the nominees of the University of Pittsburgh Board of Trustees, the Governance and Nominating Committee recommends the re-election of the following incumbent trustees for the terms and categories specified in the meeting materials. John A. Barber, Eva Tansky Bloom, Edward J. Greffenstedt, Patricia D. Harajo, S. Jeffrey Condis, Marley S. Myers, John H. Pelusi Jr., and Marna Cup Winnington. The committee also recommends the election of three new candidates who are John P. Gismondi, Lisa Golden, and Art Rooney. Complete biographies on the new candidates have been provided in today's materials. A resolution recommending the election and re-election of the nominees of the University of Pittsburgh Board of Trustees is included in your meeting materials. I have a motion to consider this resolution.
So moved.
A second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Lou, this is Jack Barber. I would like to abstain.
Thank you. Are there any additional abstentions? Thank you, Marna.
I would like to abstain.
Thank you, Marley.
This is Jeff. I'd like to abstain also.
Thanks, Jeff. I heard Ed Greffenstedt as well.
I did. Thank you.
Patty Horoho, I'd like to abstain.
Thank you, Patty.
Lou, this is John Pelusi. I would like to abstain.
Great. Thank you, John. Okay. And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. The resolution is approved. I would like to extend my congratulations to the trustees who have been re-elected to our new, re-elected and or new trustees, John Gismondi, Lisa Golden, and Art. Thank you. I do not know if any of the new trustees are watching on YouTube today, but I look forward to congratulating all of you in person at the fall meeting of the board. Now, next, the resolution recommending the re-election and election of nominees to serve as university directors for the UPMC Board of Directors is included in the meeting materials. The nominees are University Trustees Eva Tansky Bloom and Michael Wells. May I have a motion to consider the resolution?
So moved.
Thank you. A second?
Second.
Any discussion?
I will be abstaining from this vote.
Thank you, Michael. Eva has already abstained, so all in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Thank you. The resolution is approved. Michael and Madam Chair, I extend my congratulations to both of you. And Madam Chair, I now turn the meeting back over to you.
Thank you, Lou. Before we move on to the next agenda item, I'd like to recognize those trustees whose service as committee chairs will conclude following today's meeting. John Pelusi, Chair of the Athletic Committee, John Marr, Chair of the Audit Committee, Herb Shear, Chair of the Budget Committee, and Jack Barber, Chair of Property and Facilities. I have to thank each of you. I know how hard you've worked. I know how devoted you are to the university, and we couldn't have done it without your leadership. So thank you so much. And in recognition of the time that you devoted to chairing these committees, we've sent a small token of appreciation to your homes. With term limits and the election of new candidates comes the mixed emotions of having to acknowledge that other members of the board will end their term today. I'd like to acknowledge Bob Hernandez, Shandaya Simpson, and Jack Smith for their many years of devoted service to the university. As a group, they have more than 40 years of experience on this board. I would be remiss if I did not take a few moments today to share some of the highlights of their service. Bob Hernandez earned his bachelor's degree from the university's Dietrich School of Arts and Sciences. He has served on the board since 2002, including serving as vice chairperson of the board and as a member of the ad hoc committee on governance and nominating, the audit committee, the budget committee, the compensation committee, the executive committee, the health sciences committee, the nominating committee, and the University of Pittsburgh Trust. I don't think there are any left. He has served on the board of visitors for the Katz Graduate School of Business and has also represented the university on the UPMC board of directors, including chairing their finance committee. Bob is a recipient of the university's 225th anniversary medallion and the Distinguished Alumni Fellows Award. Bob, thank you for your dedicated service to the university. Shandaya Simpson was elected to the board in 2017. Shandaya earned both her bachelor's degree and her Juris Doctor degree from Pitt and is a recipient of Pitt's Distinguished Alumni Award. She has led a distinguished career that includes being elected a Supreme Court Justice of the State of New York, Kings County. Shandaya served on the athletics and student affairs committees of the board and served as the commencement speaker for the law school in 2017. To say that Shandaya loves Pitt would be an understatement. Her presence on the board will be greatly missed. Jack Smith earned his bachelor's degree from the Dietrich School and his MD from our School of Medicine. Jack has served on the board since 2012, including service as a member of the Academic Affairs and Libraries Committee, the Health Sciences Committee, the Institutional Advancement Committee, the Student Affairs Committee, and the University of Pittsburgh Trust. In addition, he served as a member of the 2013-2014 Chancellor's Search Committee, the 2018-2019 Search Committee for the President of Pitt Greensburg, and the Search Committee for the Senior Vice Chancellor for Health Sciences and the Dean of the School of Medicine. Jack has been a devoted member of the Pitt Greensburg Advisory Committee for many years, was a member and chair of the Board of Visitors for the School of Medicine, and is a past president of the Pitt Alumni Association. Jack was named a University Legacy Laureate and is a recipient of the 225th Anniversary Medallion. Jack, I want to thank you for your willingness to always serve whenever you are asked. While your official terms of service may be ending, we know that we can count on all of you for your continued support. When Kathy and her team can return to campus, they will be sending each of you the University of Pittsburgh Trustee Medallion. Until then, in recognition of your service, we have sent each of you a small appreciation to your homes. Lou, please continue with your final item of your report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The next item before the board is a resolution recommending the election of Thomas E. Richards as chairperson of the board for his first term. A biography of Mr. Richards can be found in your meeting materials, along with a resolution recommending Tom Richards' election. Madam Chair, on behalf of the Governance and Nominating Committee, I move that Tom Richards be elected to serve as chairperson of the Board of Trustees.
Second.
Thank you, Lou. Is there a second?
Second.
Eva, this is Tom.
Yes.
I have to abstain.
Okay. Is there any discussion? Then I ask for a vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? The resolution is passed. Tom, I offer you my most sincere congratulations, and I pass the gavel on to you.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and I receive the gavel, even if it's electronically. We will make this work. Thank you very much. We're now going to move forward with the meeting. First, I want to start out by saying thank you. I'd like to thank the trustees for electing me to serve as your, and I emphasize that, your chairperson of the board. Since the time I've joined this board, one of the things I've told anybody that will listen to me is I am constantly inspired by the quality, the integrity, and the passion of the people that serve on this board. And I will assure you that that will be a strong motivation as we move forward together. I'd also like to thank Eva first for agreeing to stick around for another year and serve as a special trustee so that all of us can benefit from her experience, advice, and counsel. On a personal note, Eva, one of the great measures of leadership in my mind is not only the things that you accomplish, but it's the people that you touch. And I think I can speak for everybody that's involved with the University of Pittsburgh. You've made a great impact on many people, and that will be a legacy that will last for a long, long time. I will also try to build on that legacy by supporting Chancellor Gallagher, his team, the entire Pitt community, be it the faculty, the staff, the students, the alumni, and to strengthen our partnerships at all 5 of our campuses. Clearly, we are heading into a challenging time for the university, not the least of which is dealing with COVID and its impact, but also helping the university move forward in the areas of social justice, just to name a few things. However, I feel a great deal of comfort that because of the people that serve on this board, that we will not only be able to support Pat in dealing with these and these issues, but also helping the university move forward and onto its next great chapter and maintaining what I think you said, Eve, at the very beginning, is this outstanding university. I would now like to end my comments. I'm a fan of a statement that says, when words are many, transgressions are not lacking. So I will stop my part of the conversation and move it over to Chancellor Gallagher to deliver his report.
Thank you, Tom. Well, congratulations to you, Tom. We're all excited to work with you. Obviously, maybe a more interesting time for the university than when you first thought about coming on into this role, but I think maybe one of the most important times. So excited to work with you. Really, we are. Eva, I'm still a little emotional after your remarks reflecting on your tenure as our leader at the beginning of this meeting. Simply put, you've given so much to Pitt in so many ways and to the city in so many ways. And it's very difficult to properly thank you. Of course, I'm a little biased, maybe a lot biased. You did chair the search committee that brought me back to the University of Pittsburgh. And you've been my friend and my partner for all of my tenure as chancellor. And I want to thank you for that. But I do want to make one observation. As good and as visionary as Eva is, I doubt she envisioned what transformations we would be facing right now. The world has really changed in deep and fundamental ways in just the last 3.5 to 4 months. We're facing a global pandemic. We're facing a global civil movement that's calling for fundamental changes in how we deal with questions of race and justice. We're dealing with a global economic crisis that's displacing work and changing the economies around the world. And we're seeing a massive shift in our basic understandings of internationalism and global collaboration and cooperation. So when you reflect on all of the challenges that these global crises are going to bring to the University of Pittsburgh, you have to appreciate the fact that we are well positioned to face the challenges. in large part because of Eva's leadership on this board. And I just wanted to call out a few things. She has pushed us in that characteristic Eva way towards being more strategic, with a clear strategy, fully supported and integrated into the operations of the board, so there's true oversight. She has sought improvements in university governance that brought new faces and more diversity and more transparency and more engagement and absolutely more participation by all trustees. And above all else, she has kept us clearly focused on our mission and on our students. And in the face of so much uncertainty, those fundamental changes are serving us well. Even before COVID-19, we've been advancing our reputation and reach as a leading national university. We were continuing to attract the very best students, now increasingly from around the country and around the world. We have become more diverse and more vibrant as a university community. We've reshaped our financial aid in many important ways, providing multiple programs to meet unmet need and to lower student debt and to make Pitt more accessible to those who want to be here. And we've grown the size and scale of our research and scholarship activities. We've become an innovation powerhouse, a real player in creating economic opportunity. We are a sleeping giant no more. We've become a leader in the growing area of community engaged work, working in partnership with the communities and neighborhoods of Pittsburgh. And we've expanded our global footprint in all measures, by partnership, by study abroad, and in the global experience for our students and our faculty. But now, as we kind of adapt to the unknown, these strengths of your leadership are really apparent. We are now adapting and learning and reinventing ourselves at an unprecedented rate. I have to conclude that Pitt is so much better off thanks to your service and commitment and for your leadership, and we have all directly benefited. So really, on behalf of the entire university, please accept our deepest thanks and appreciation. The annual meeting of the board is a very busy time because this is the meeting when so much of the actual business of the board, membership elections, reassignments, things of that type take place. Luckily, we choose to do this in June when really nothing much is happening at the university. Zoom jokes don't work as well as real jokes. But I do want to, before making just a few quick remarks on some of the major things facing us, I want to stop and thank this board for your support to me and to the university. I want to express my special appreciation to those trustees whose service will be ending with the board. It's kind of painful when this happens. You have become really our dearest colleagues and friends. Bob, you and Jack and Shandia won't be missed because we obviously continue to work together, but your presence at the board meetings and your direct support in those roles will be. I want to also thank the committee chairs. This board does almost all of its work through its committees, and I can't overemphasize enough how vital the functioning of the committees are. And when I look at Herb and John Pelusi and Jack Barber and John Marr, each of you has been not only great to work with, but you've left your committees in a much stronger position than when you took those roles. And I want to thank you for your leadership and service to the university as well. Obviously, a special welcome to all the incoming chairs. A very special welcome to our newest board members, Art, John, and Lisa. We're delighted to welcome you here. And of course, the many new roles, including on the UPMC board and other positions that we just finished voting on. I should note that as busy as this has been today for the board, the university has also been making some changes. Of course, we recognized Art Levine just a little bit earlier. Anantha Shaker has been here for just 3 weeks. It must feel like some combination of 3 hours and 30 years. It's been such a tremendous time for him to take the role, but he's doing great. Dave DeYoung has taken on new responsibilities, now leading our interim senior vice chancellor for business and operations. We have several key academic positions with searches and key positions in the provost office and in our Office of Diversity and Inclusion that have been announced just over the past days or even hours. So I want to welcome and thank all of them. A particular note to Lori Kirsch and Nathan Urban, who are stepping out of their roles in the provost office, but have been bedrocks of support for me and for the university. Obviously, reflecting on the committee meetings that we've had over the last several days, a couple of things have been simply cross-cutting. I think every committee has been involved in these issues, and that would include the pandemic and these questions around race and social justice. That's not surprising. The breadth and depth of these problems and the degree of transformation that the university is undergoing to address them makes it correct and proper that the board has taken these on. Let me touch very quickly on COVID, not to cover any details or make any new announcements. We are trying to move, as many of you know, into a much more organized planning and execution process. We've established a risk steering committee chaired by Javette Washington, and they are, to say working overtime is an understatement, pulling together the hundreds of different planning activities related to transforming the university so that it can operate, and not just operate, but maximize its mission in the face of the risk associated with this pandemic. I just want to remind everybody, the key principles we're facing applying to this activity are to ensure the safety of our community. That's a given, while we maximize our mission. So we will protect ourselves, protect the community, address the risks that they face due to this infection, and then turn around and figure out how do we maximize our teaching, research, and service missions. This is about not just continuity or surviving this. It's really about how do we try to thrive under this difficult environment. Another key principle is responsiveness. The threat, as we are seeing right now, is highly variable. We're facing a resurgence of the first wave, particularly across the Sun Belt in the United States. Our planning has to be adjustable, and it does support multiple operating postures. The third principle is it has to be based on the very best health and science information. There's a lot of misinformation out there. We are a medical university with enormous expertise. We are in partnership with one of the greatest, the largest academic medical center, one of the strongest academic medical centers in the country. We need to be driven by the very best medical expertise and advice, and our plan is built around these common standards as developed by our healthcare advisory group. And then at the working level, every area of the university is given the chance to address these standards, recognizing the unique features of what we do. I just want to point out that this is really hard stuff. I know that there's a lot of frustration, people wanting more information. There's a lot of uncertainty. I can assure you that people are working as hard as they can to answer many of those questions. But in many cases, while it feels like we're always behind, in some cases, we've actually been ahead of state guidance and other key requirements. So I'm not asking patience so much as understanding that this is going to be an incredibly difficult task. We are trying to improve the communications, both about the plan itself and what the expectations are for everybody in the university, but also to provide the resources and support. Everybody in the university, our faculty, our staff, our students, are working incredibly hard, and I just want to appreciate everything that everyone's doing and acknowledge that we need to do more to support you. This crisis is bigger than the university. We will be impacted by external events and changes in external conditions. I can't change that. We can't wrap the university up so tightly to make us immune to that. And so as we face new uncertainty, and we will have to do that together and make sure that we are communicating clearly and effectively. That really puts a premium on communication and education. all of us at the University of Pittsburgh have to understand that we have to learn new things. Whether we're learning how to work from home, which is going to be our preferred posture, to learning how to work safely in the campus environment if our duties require us to be there, and how to use these new approaches that are designed to give us that resiliency. Obviously, one of the major concerns is in the end, the risk isn't just about the work environment. It's not just about what happens if you're in a Pitt building. It's really something we're living with all the time. Our behaviors at home and when we go to the grocery store and how we interact and socialize have a material impact on the risks that we will face even on our campus. This question of developing a real social compact between us where we support healthy and safe behaviors, maybe even if we don't feel the risk, but to protect those around us is going to be a central part of this, and something that I'm really calling on everyone to help us address and work through. On the questions of race and social justice, I don't want to re-reflect or remake comments that we've made. I just want to point out that what we're dealing with is the long-standing problem of systemic racism, bias, and injustice against African Americans, and it's driving a major civic movement demanding real change. We have to live up to this demand for change. This touches everybody. And what we're specifically looking at, I think, when we talk about this from an institutional perspective, is dealing with the systems, the powers, the authorities, the processes that can sustain racism or sustain biases in our society and in our institutions. Pitt is not immune from this. I'm not saying Pitt isn't a great place. We're all very proud of the University of Pittsburgh, but we have to realize that we can do better. We shouldn't expect Pitt to somehow be more perfect than anywhere else. And we have to realize that being self-critical about ourselves doesn't mean that we don't support our institution. That's how we get better. So we criticize because we seek to improve. We want to be a more just, a more inclusive, and a more representational place, an academic home for our students and our faculty and staff, where that community that nurtures our acts of discovery and learning can take place. We have talked about this as a need to be not just about not being racist, but about being actively anti-racist, being proactive, acknowledging that we have to move deliberately as an institution to seek out those things that support or cause underrepresentation or non-inclusivity or injustice or inequality, and seek to actively change those. We need to tackle this directly. These are tough and, for many people, very uncomfortable discussions. So we need to become more comfortable with being uncomfortable. I always say it's a sign of real learning when you feel that you're out in deep water and uncomfortable. So I hope that this means we become a learning institution. And I think we have to recognize that this touches all aspects of our university, including our culture, the campus climate with regards to race. It touches our systems and structures, all of those processes and procedures that shape all of the activities we do. And it touches our mission about how do we seek to be a university that makes the world better, a better place through knowledge. So we are at a moment now where we have to take this civic call to action and turn it into the kind of lasting and durable moral imperative, a core value of the university that shapes what we strive for, what we pay for, what we measure, and how we will define success for ourselves. And I'm asking the board specifically to fully and visibly support these university efforts. I'm asking you to ensure that the visions and words become plans and actions. And I want to ask that you help us make sure that that we align resources and effort against these values, and that you hold us accountable for results. And then I just want to make a quick general comment. A board's fundamental objective, of course, is to manage the risks. This fundamental responsibility for the university that the members of the board hold, manage that responsibility by looking through the lens of risk to decide what are those things that we need to most urgently address. We are in a watershed moment. It's any one of the things I've spoken about would be massive undertakings in and of themselves, but we're happening with concurrent crises, and I don't believe it's an accident. This is a watershed moment. The risks now are being reshaped by this watershed moment. They are emergent. They are happening with a speed and scale and degree of uncertainty that's very difficult for many to deal with. These are concurrent. They're happening all at once, and we don't have the luxury of putting some aside and focusing on others. And they are calling us to challenge the fundamental assumptions that we have made about how the university works and what its purpose is in many areas. So the challenge here is not just fixing some problems and getting back. This is about transformation. It's about adaptation. And that's a different risk lens. So I think that for me, a couple of things stand out in this new dynamic period. We are going to have to get more comfortable with uncertainty. Plans that we expect to hold true for a long period of time may not hold true for a long period of time, which means that we have to be very clear about the principles and the objectives, maybe more than even the strategies. Not that we don't strategize, that will be important, but we're going to probably be tweaking and reinventing and experimenting quite a bit. It's going to have to tap our spirit of innovation. We can't be afraid to fail. We will fail. We will make mistakes. And I think it's going to be really important for the university to be okay with that and let people take chances, try things out. If they don't work, fine, we move on and we try something else. I think that's what universities can be best at. It's not always what university administrations are best at, but we can learn to change that as well. And I think finally that we have to learn how to collaborate. These problems are not going to be fixed by an administration. They're going to take everybody. I need the active and creative participation of our students, our faculty, our staff, our alumni, and our community stakeholders. I need this board to collaborate and work with me. We have to form coalitions amongst ourselves to jointly tackle these problems, share ideas, have that honest, self-critical evaluation, but one that's aimed at a common purpose of making Pitt a better place and a more impactful university. And I think that to the final point, we have to look outward more towards the outcomes and the results of our work and less inward to the actions and activities that we like to talk about. Putting what we're doing in the context of our community, our students, our staff, and our faculty, to the impact we have on our region, and most importantly, to the impact we can have on society. And finally, on kind of a last note, Tom, and I'm thinking about you as I say this, because you're facing this remarkable time. The one great thing about this time, despite all of these changes and incredible uncertainty and kind of rewriting the whole playbook for the university at the same time, is that the one thing that isn't changing, and in fact is more important than ever, is the central mission of the university. If there was ever a time when learning and giving people opportunities and supporting social mobility and advancing science and understanding were more important, then I don't know what they are. And so our mission is as solid as important as it's ever been. And we're simply being called to adapt how we carry out that mission in the face of these new challenges. And I think, as I often say, a great university cannot shy away from tackling the great challenges of the day. And to you, Tom, and the rest of the board, I really look forward to working with you to make that happen. Thank you.
Okay, Pat, thank you for those words. And again, thank you to you and your
executive team for the work that has been done. I was reflecting after yesterday's committee meetings on the depth, the intensity that people have put to the COVID and some of these other issues. And we can't thank you enough and the team enough. I would ask one thing, that in the midst of all this, they do take some time, and you take some time to take a deep breath because their health and their ability to endure this marathon, I think, is going to be important. But please, thank you to everybody.
Well, let me just say, Tom, to that point, thank you for that. I just want to note to the board, you probably worry more about us because you see us more. But I just want to say we're also representing, this entire university has never worked harder. I can't tell you how proud I am of our faculty. They're essentially reinventing their entire profession and craft on the fly. I'm so proud of our students who are learning how to be students, even though they can't be on campus, and they're learning how to work with us in new ways. And I'm so proud of our staff who have had to manage, protect, and support this university in ways that they probably didn't even imagine we'd have to do 4 months ago. So I will share your wise advice to everyone that we have to take care of ourselves to be able to take care of the institution. So thank you for that.
Okay, thanks, Pat. Just a couple of quick announcements. First, at the winter meeting of the board held on February 28th of 2020, we passed a resolution adopting a socially responsible investing screening process. And after consulting with both Pat and Eva, we believe that the issue of the university's investments in fossil fuels has reached the threshold described in the process and requires further analysis and consideration. Therefore, I will be appointing an ad hoc committee of the board to consider this matter. The ad hoc committee will be chaired by Trustee Don Hickton, with additional trustee appointments to be made over the summer. I would like to thank Ms. Hickton for adding this assignment to her already busy portfolio, so thank you, Don. I also would like to advise the board that we did receive a letter from one of the students who is a member of the fossil fuel group that urges the board to divest from fossil fuel. I will provide a copy of this letter to the ad hoc committee. Finally, in July and August, I will also be working with the secretary of the board to appoint vice chairpersons to several board committees and to make other committee appointments to ensure the board is exercising its oversight and fiduciary responsibilities. It is going to be a busy summer, that's no doubt, but as Pat, I think, has very effectively described, it also will be a summer of opportunity for all of us. And we stand, Pat, in support of the things that you've outlined and the initiatives to help us navigate this time. With that, I'd like to ask, is there any new business to come before the board? Okay, Chancellor, I think you have something that we'd like to talk about. And you need to, I think, hit the mute button, or somebody does.
Seeing the limitations of choreography here with Zoom. Yes, thank you. I do have an item of new business now that I've pulled my notes up. Of course, I want to come back to the topic we've all touched on, take a few minutes to recognize the extraordinary contributions and leadership of Eva Bloom to the University of Pittsburgh. Now that her 5-year term as board chairwoman has officially concluded, we have the opportunity to step back and appreciate the many positive effects of her exceptional leadership has had on this board and on this institution, and I would say by extension on this entire region. The effect is immeasurable and will be durable and felt for a long time into the future by countless generations of the Pitt family. In this sort of Zoom era, I know it's not the same, Eva, but in a very a sincere attempt, we'd like to express a fraction of our affection and admiration for you through this video that we'd like to share with everyone at this time.
Oh, I wish we were watching. Can turn on now. Too late.
Eva Tansky Bloom's ties to Pitt run deep and are rooted in her family history. Her mother, a Russian immigrant, was one of the 97,000 children who donated their dimes to help construct Pitt's Cathedral of Learning. Since graduating from Pitt Law in 1973, Eva has always lent her time and skills to Pitt and has been honored by her alma mater. Past president of the Pitt Alumni Association, Eva was named Pitt Volunteer of the Year in 1990, a Distinguished Alumni in 2007, and a Pitt Law Distinguished Alumni in 2008. Eva co-chaired the university's Building Our Future Together with her brother, a fellow alum and emeritus trustee, Bert Tansky, in 2000. The campaign quickly reached its $500 million mark, eventually raising $2 billion, making it one of the most successful fundraising efforts in Pitt history. In 2013, Eva took on the important responsibility of chairing the search committee to find Pitt's 18th chancellor, which led to the appointment of Dr. Patrick Gallagher. 2 years later, Eva assumed the groundbreaking role as the first female chair of the Pitt Board of Trustees. Eva's historic tenure as chair has been filled with outstanding accomplishments, including formally endorsing the plan for Pitt, the creation of the School of Computing and Information, the university's first new school in 2 decades, the transformation of Pitt Titusville into an education and training hub for the northwestern region of Pennsylvania, and Pitt's historic commitment to carbon neutrality. As a scholarship recipient herself, and with a passion for Pitt students, Eva has worked closely with Chancellor Gallagher to make education affordable to students and families, including supporting the Pitt Success Pell Match Program, the largest restructuring of financial aid in Pitt's history, and one of 8 new affordability initiatives. Throughout her tenure as chair, Eva has championed an active and engaged board and introduced a number of initiatives to improve the organization, efficiency, and diversity. She initiated work plans, restructured committees, and aligned trustees' talents and expertise with their assigned committees. Work plans for board committees were created to ensure alignment with the strategic plan, and she helped establish the Research and Innovation Committee to provide oversight for Pitt's research and work directly with the university's Governance and Nominating Committee to survey strengths and areas for improvement. Eva oversaw the passage of the Statement of Trustee Commitment and Responsibilities, establishing term limits for committee chairs. She also instituted a more robust orientation process for new trustees. When members of the Board of Trustees heard that Pitt was honoring her, they offered letters of support with recurring themes of Eva's leadership, style, and grace. Many board members noted that Eva personally welcomed them to their new position, making certain they felt comfortable in their roles. Eva also made it a priority to engage the entire university community. Board meetings were held at the regional campuses, allowing members to tour facilities and meet with faculty, staff, and students. Eva has nurtured a culture of generosity by encouraging all trustees to make giving to the university a priority of their personal philanthropy. Leading by example, she and her brother Bert established the Tansky Family Fund in the Pitt Department of Neurology and the Alzheimer's Disease Research Center. And with their late sister, Shirley Gordon, the siblings created the Tansky Family Lounge in the William Pitt Union, dedicated in their parents' memory. Above all, Eva almost never says no to any invitation to attend a university event, function, or ceremony. She has been one of the most visible trustees and board chairs in the school's history, always with an encouraging word, a welcoming smile, and a love for students. An esteemed attorney, a celebrated businesswoman, and a Pitt trailblazer. Eva continues to leave her mark on both the community and the campus. And we at the University of Pittsburgh are grateful for the incredible generosity and strong leadership of Eva Tansky Bloom.
Enjoy it, Eva. Mr. Chair, I would like to introduce at this time a resolution of appreciation for Eva Bloom.
Thank you, Pat. The resolution of appreciation to honor Eva Tansky Bloom was emailed to the board in advance of today's meeting and appears on the screen. I would like to ask Trustee Marlene Myers to begin reading the resolution of appreciation, followed by other trustees.
Thank you. What an honor it is to be able to kick this off. Whereas, after completing her undergraduate degree in political science from the University of Pittsburgh, Eva Tansky Bloom was awarded a full scholarship to attend the university's School of Law, where she earned her Juris Doctor in 1973. And
whereas Eva Tansky Bloom briefly left the city to begin her career with the U.S. Department of Commerce and U.S. Air before returning to Pittsburgh in 1977 to join the legal division of the PNC. She quickly advanced up the corporate ranks to hold numerous senior leadership positions, including Executive Vice President and Chairperson and President of the PNC Foundation, where she directed the organization's philanthropic programs and established and oversaw PNC Grow Up Great, an innovative program developed to improve early childhood education. And
whereas while building a career and family, Eva Tansky Bloom always made time to give back to the university that she credited with changing her life and giving her opportunities she had never imagined, devoting countless hours as a volunteer and as a life member of the Pitt Alumni Association, where she held a number of leadership positions, ultimately serving as its president. And
whereas in 2004, Eva Tansky Bloom was elected to serve as a member of the University of Trustees and proved to be one of the board's most committed and dedicated members, serving on and chairing several board committees and boards of visitors, serving as co-chair of the university's historic record-breaking $2 billion capital campaign, and chairing the 2013-14 Chancellor Search Committee. And
whereas in 2014, Ms. Bloom was elected to serve as chairperson-elect of the Board of Trustees, and in 2015 was elected to serve as chairperson of the board, becoming the first woman in history of the university to hold that office. And
whereas the board chairperson Bloom's dedication and commitment to the university cannot be overstated. As board chair, her dossier expanded to include serving as chair of the Compensation and Executive Committees, chair of the University Trust, first vice chairperson of UPMC Board of Directors, and member of the other 12 board committees. And in those roles, she has attended hundreds of committee meetings and numerous university ceremonies and has presided over more than 30 board meetings and retreats. And
whereas, as chairperson of the Board of Trustees, Ms. Bloom took a number of steps that have had a significant and lasting impact on the board, including working to increase the diversity of the board, to ensure alignment with the strategic goals of the university, instituting a more robust orientation process for new trustees so that they are prepared to be active and engaged members of the board, playing an integral role in articulating and formalizing the statement of trustee commitment and responsibilities, which set forth the expectations of those who serve on the board, increasing the profile and visibility of the board and its engagement with the university community at all 5 campuses by hosting board meetings at the University of Pittsburgh at Greensburg and the University of Pittsburgh at Johnstown, touring university facilities, and moving beyond traditional locations for board events, and nurturing a culture of generosity by encouraging all trustees to make giving to the university one of the highest priorities of their personal philanthropy. And
whereas under her leadership, the board has taken action on issues that have transformed the university including establishing the School of Computing and Information, the university's first new school in 2 decades, transforming the University of Pittsburgh at Titusville into an education and training hub to serve the needs of the Titusville area and the northwestern region of Pennsylvania, and expanding the university's commitment to sustainability.
Thank you, Bert. May I have a motion and a second to approve the resolution of appreciation for Eva Tansky-Bloom?
So moved.
So moved.
Can I have a second? Okay, thank you. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Thank you. The resolution is approved. Eva, thank you for all that you've done for this university. And while we realize you were serenaded last night, we also know that there are no lyrics, written words, or objects that could begin to demonstrate how much we all appreciate your service to the board and to the university community. But that's not going to stop us. However, we're going to try. The resolution that was on screen is being framed and will be presented to you. We will also be presenting you with a book of memories and messages from the many individuals that have been impacted by your leadership. You will shortly be receiving a small token of appreciation from the university and the board. And lastly, the gavel that you used over the last 5 years will be engraved and sent to you. Eva, let me say one more time, thank you and a job well done. Okay, now, is there any additional new business to come before the board? Hearing none, as a reminder, the fall meeting of the board will be held on Friday, September 25th, 2020. And at this point, the meeting is now adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.